Hello everyone and welcome all to module 1 of this Windows administration. In the module 1, what we are going to cover: introduction, about operating system, history of operating system, edition of Windows 10 operating system architecture, and lab. These are the sections that we are going to cover in the module 1. After completing this whole 6 module that is in front of you, what are the skills you're going to have? The skill set you will have after completion of this module 1 is that proper understanding of operating system, downloading, setting up and installation of operating system, and working of operating system. Means you will have the proper understanding and the whole representation. What are the things belongs to the operating system, the basics and all. As having this excitement, yes, we are going to have this skill set, right? We are going to have this skill set. These are the excitement we should have. Let's start our class. The first question that we are going to have is, what is Windows administration? Any guesses? Yes, you guess correct, guys. What is Windows administration? The Windows administration is the one where the person is responsible for managing your Windows operating system. Yes, the Windows operating systems, to know how to manage that: allocations, authorization, authentications, working, installing, upgrading, downgrading, troubleshooting. These are the parts that includes in the Windows administration. Within the Windows administration, what it is, if I take you a little bit deeper, then it goes like, Windows administration is known as the backbone of an IT industry. Backbone. Without this, we cannot stand anywhere. If you look carefully, then every organization is having the Windows operating system and they work on it, and they have their dedicated users for their respective operating systems. They do. So that is why it is known as the backbone of IT industry. The responsibility is managing, configuration, maintaining their organization networks and all. That includes means installation, configuring operating system, managing users accounts, permissions, ensuring system security, overseeing network services, monitoring system performance and all. These are the some major tasks it includes that Windows administrations are responsible for performing these tasks, right? The goal of Windows administration is to keep their infrastructure up that belongs to Windows. What do you mean by up over here? The meaning of up is that keeping your infrastructure online. As if we are not online, it means we are not in the step of growth. When the Google launched its product that belongs to photos, business and all, right? So there is a one statement that comes from the Google is that if you want to achieve, if you want to have, then you must have your store on the online. You must have a store over the online. That is the one. So always keep your infrastructure running up online. That is a responsibility of Windows administration. If I talk major responsibilities, system configuration and management. Our employees get the proper configured machine and their schedule maintenance as well. Then we have users and access management. The meaning is the users should access only the things what they need to access. Expect nothing as such. That is what the user and access is. So there is a one famous line that goes, give the access to the user what they need, not what they don't need or beyond the need. Never. So always keep the things limited and their access one. That is what the users and access management talks about. Then we have security and compliance, where we say our machines are secure enough to perform the operations to keep it online. The backups need to be done on the regular basis. If any kind of the incident happen, we can recover it within the zero time. Are the things that consider and consist in the security and compliance sections. After all, these all the task depends upon operating system. So let's have a segment. What is operating system? Anyone? Think upon it, guys. What the operating system can be. I hope you got the answer correct. The operating system is an interface, right? Operating system is an interface. What it is used for? Why interface? The interface is the part. The interface is the part which establish the connectivity between the users and the another subject or another task. In the same way, if I talk about Windows administration, the operating system is playing the role of interface because it is establishing the connectivity between users and the hardware, from where the users can perform the operations, from where the user can have their all the task in the systematic way. That is what the operating system talks about. Like this, we have the multiple operating systems: Windows, Mac, iOS, Android, Linux, Ubuntu, Fedora, Black Arch. There are lots of the operating systems in this open market. That's what. And every operating system comes with some basic feature. The basic features are process management. What do we mean by process management? The meaning of process management is to handle the CPU allocations. Okay, if any process is running, if any process is running, then how much CPU it should allocate, how much CPU it will occupy. That is the thing done in the process management. Then we have memory management. What does it mean? So most of the people get confused over the memory, that memory represents hard disk, memory represent storage unit. No, the memory represent the RAM. Every time the RAM is having a technical name that represents memory. Random access memory. That's what memory management, right? So memory management handles if any process got scheduled, it is running over the CPU, it is getting processed, then how much RAM it should occupy, how much RAM we should provide. That is the job done in memory management. Then we have file system management, where all the files are being stored by the user, or the Windows related files need to be in the proper hierarchy, right? In the proper hierarchy. If the user is trying to make the amendments, if the user is trying to create a folder, if the user is trying to change the directories, he or she can easily. That is the job we have in file system management. Then we have device management. As we connected our device, CPU, mouse, keyboard, pen drive, hard disk, webcam, extra monitors, and all, right? Any kind of the devices we connect, projectors and all, then how should it behave? What kind of the features we should have? These are the things handled by the device management over here. Then we have user interface. What the user interface talks about how the user is going to interact with the operating system. Will it have the command line or will it have the graphical interface? The graphical interface where we use the clicks, mouse clicks and all. Command line where we have to type all the commands for having the executions of any process. So what kind of interface we are providing? So generally in the Windows we comes with graphical user interface where you are having all the icons, images, pictures, everything, and you can click on it. So these are the some basic feature that belongs to every operating system that we have. Among them, we are focused over here in this particular course over Windows 10 operating system. So our whole course will carry over on Windows 10 operating system. This is the part. Before discussing further what is operating Windows 10 and architecture over the Windows 10, let's have a little detail about Windows operating system, a history. So the history of operating system that says Windows, how it got started. The first one that we got is Windows 3.1 in the year of 1992, and it is having some basic features, right? Where we have the interfaces, where we have the multimedia capabilities and all. So these are the 3.1 operating system that is very basic for the users and they need it. Then we have the Windows 95. What do you mean by the 95? The 95 was launched on August 24, 1995 by combining the MS-DOS, Microsoft Disk Operating System, which is used to provide you the graphical user interface. And if you go to the internet and if you discuss about it, from the Windows 95 only, we got the taskbar, we got the icons, we got all those kind of the subjects. Then after, we got Windows 98. 98 is just enhanced version of 95 where we improved the multimedia capabilities and all. Whatever the drawbacks we have in 95, we fixed in Windows 98, right? Internet connectivity and a lot more. Then after the Windows 98, we have Windows XP in the year of 2001. In the Windows XP, we got NT architecture, new technology architecture, which give us the most security, reliability for the business purposes, for the users, for the normal users and all. And XP stands for Extended Platform, where it introduced the remote desktop, where it introduced the internet connectivities, where we have the proper networking segment. From Windows XP only, we got Internet Explorer. Internet Explorer, you can access the internet by sitting at over the operating system. And Windows XP is having the history that is the most reliable operating system till date. That is the one we say. Then after Windows XP, we were having Windows 7. Sorry, Windows Vista. Windows Vista and 7 is having the correlation with each other. So when we got the Windows Vista, it was in January 2007, which talks about when Windows Vista launched. So it is very heavy to process. It is having it is creating lots of the RAM issues. It combine all the RAM where we cannot make further processes, and it faced difficulties in attaching with the previous drivers that we are running on the Windows XP and all. So it's some kind of the problem it has. Then after having this kind of the things, by hearing this kind of the segments from Windows Vista, we come up with Windows 7. So Windows 7, what was? It was a revised version of Windows Vista where we improvised a lot the security features, the RAM problems, the taskbars and all, right? where we also provide the Windows management features. What does it mean? Like snapshot, creating the screenshots, screen recording, and this kind of the segments we have it in the Windows 7. And in the year of 2009-10, Windows 7 was the very famous operating system among the users, especially for its look and feel and lots of the features. That is what the Windows 7 we have. Then after we come at Windows 8 in 2012. The Windows 8 was the operating system that for the touch screens, okay, from where we got the touch screen, and within that year only we got the Nokia Lumia. The Windows 8 was installed in that particular Nokia Lumia with the joint venture from Nokia and Microsoft, right? So it was a little bit confused, but attractive operating system that we say, which gives the start menu in front of our screen. But it also go through the criticism कि, we are unable to perform any set of the operation. We are unable to do. So Windows 8.1 we launched within the 1 year. That we says कि 8.1 is the Windows 9 operating system in the field, and it improvised their start options. And again we got the start bar, we got the icons and all. Then we come up with Windows 10 that we are using nowadays. The Windows 10 is having lots of the Windows interfaces. It can be used in touch screens, it can be used in PC, it can be used in tablets, it can be used anywhere, where it talks about the virtual assistant, Cortana and all, and lots of the models. Means the Windows services and all. So lots of the feature, and also if you are working on Windows 10, you don't need to have any additional uh, drivers for it, right? So that is what we got in Windows 10. Then we come up with Windows 11. That is the current operating system in nowadays. In the Windows 11, we got lots of the features. Whatever the features we got in Windows 10, we are having in Windows 11, and the Windows 11 is having the unique feature that without having any kind of operations, we can run the Android application directly on the Windows platform. That is what it focused on. So this is the little history of the operating system that we have. So I hope this history provide you the better understanding of how the journey is going on. And as per the news, in the next year, in the year of 2025, month of Feb or March, we are going to have Windows 12 as well, right? So this is a very funny kind of the statement as well that belongs with that ambassadors and also no comments. So these are the things we say. Okay. So I hope this Windows history of this Windows operating system find you interesting. Now let's move towards the architecture. What do you mean by architecture? Any guess? Guess it once, guys. Operating system architecture that represents the structural view, right? I hope you also think about the same thing, means the structure. Ki how my operating system is structured. And the structure is very important because it represents the working criteria of everything, right? So we have the structure of operating system. We are having the multiple sets of architecture: monolithic, micro, layered, client server architecture, hybrid architecture, and so on. Among these all the architecture, the Windows 10 work on hybrid architecture, which combines both monolithic and microkernel. Let's understand about the hybrid architecture in our next slide. The hybrid architecture, which combines monolithic and microkernel design, which is going to provide them, which is going to provide them the modes, the advantages and disadvantages in a very proper way. Where the kernel is having their all the tasks dedicated, and the users are having their all the tasks dedicated. Means in the monolithic kernel what we have that defines all the tasks will defined by the kernel. Microkernel, what they perform, they separated the task. And when we say the hybrid, the hybrid that combine both the task together, right? The kernel will perform its own kind of the task. The user will perform their own kind of task, and they both are connected with each other. So when they both combines, then we have the balanced function of the operating system. You have observed in the Windows 10, we can add the multiple screens, and within by adding the multiple screens, you can manage all the screens via single configuration. That is what the hybrid we have. Okay, this is the one. So one of them, these statements are where we are working on the Windows 10 operating system. So it is more fast, it is very easy to use, robust and resilient. Resilient means security. To how much secure our Windows 10 operating system? Due to the separation of task, due to the separation of task, our every operating systems are having their separate task overall. So these are the architecture that is being used by the operating system in nowadays. Now we are talking about Windows 10. So let's have a little knowledge about Windows 10 operating systems edition. So it comes with several editions. The editions are Windows 10 Home, Windows 10 Pro, Enterprise, Education, Pro for Workstation, Windows S, and IoT. So let's have a little understanding. What are these all the edition consist for? So Windows 10 Home is generally for home users, just like us, where we are just having the normal day-to-day task. We can have our uh, surfing, we can play the games, we can have the settings and all. Settings in the says multimedia player, making the animations, a little kind of the task. We can do it over the Windows 10 Home. Then we have Windows 10 Pro. The Windows 10 Pro consists all the feature that goes with Windows Home, and it comes with the advanced statement where you have the rights to run the virtual machines, to have the bit lockers, remote desktop connectivity, group policy management, creating the multiple users and all. So this kind of the policies and the functionalities we got in Windows 10 Pro. So Pro stands for professional, we say. This is the edition which is being used by the multiple users over here, and in our further sessions we'll be working on this particular edition that says Windows 10 Pro. And if anyone is having the question why, the written statement in front of your screen explains why. Very nice, everyone. Next we have Windows 10 Enterprise. Enterprise is the one which is being used for multiple organizations and all. Okay, Enterprise edition we have, which consists all the feature that belongs to the Windows 10, additional advanced threat protection, right? Key over the organization, they have the multiple kind of the threats, they have the kind of attacks, app locker, direct connectivity with the VPN, LTSB, and so on. So these are the features that we have in Windows 10 Enterprise. Then we go for education. So education consists the features that belong to the Windows 10 Enterprise, and additional it gives you the take a test, set up a school for the PC, and management tools that belongs to school and universities. So basically the segment is key educations are manageable, are manageable. We can tailor it. If we are setting up for the schools, we are setting up for the universities, then we have there's some kind of the limitations. So education generally belongs under the category of Windows Home and all. It never consists of every features that goes for enterprise and pro. It says, but as you will work on the education, you will not find that kind of the statements. Then we have the pro for workstation. So pro for workstation consists all the features of the pro as well as resilient file system for providing you the faster disk operations for larger volumes. Where we are talking about lots of the data processing, where we are talking about lots of the calculations, lots of the computing, we go for workstation, right? So when we say this is my workstation, where we do all the work, where we do lots of the tasks, so it represents the same thing. Windows 10 Pro for workstation. So the workstation where we do the heavy computing process. Then we have Windows S mode that talks about Microsoft App Simplified. The S stands for simplified function only. A very simple kind of the operating system where you can have the things, and it is the one which is being used within the tablets and all. The Windows S mode is generally used within the tablets and all and being used by the students and the normal users again. Then we have the IoT. The Windows 10 IoT belongs for the IoT devices that you all are aware with, Internet of Things. So we have the dedicated operating systems Windows 10 IoT, and it is responsible for managing all the IoT devices that is being regulated and managed. So this is all about the Windows 10 edition. Now, if I talk about how you are going to install it, or for installing, what kind of the system resources we need. So the system resources or a requirement for installing Windows 10 operating system is, if I talk about the very minimum requirement, so the minimum system requirement goes processor 1 gigahertz, RAM 1 GB for 32, 2 GB for 64-bit operating system, storage 32 GB for hard disk or SSD for 32-bit and 64-bit version. So 32 GB is the very good amount of storage section. If you have the graphics card, it's good. If you not, then it is also going to work. And display resolution, the screen size needs to be 800 into the 600 resolution. Why we talk about the display? The reason is in the further slides that we have discussed earlier, there is a one operating system that called as Windows S, right? So Windows S is what? Windows S is for simple mode, simplified mode. So it is responsible for working within the tablets and all. So tablet is having the different screen size. Our laptops have the different screen size and all. So that's why it's better to have 800 to 600 resolution. If you have more than that, it's good. So this is what the minimum system requirement where our Windows 10 can work. What we recommend, the minimum is okay, the bare minimum I can be on this limit, means below that I cannot go. But what we recommend for having the proper functioning, having the proper functionalities of it. So the recommended system requirements are processor need to be 2 gigahertz and it is dual core, so it's much better. Then the RAM needs to be 4 GB or more than that. You can have the storage 64 GB. Then have the graphics card, whatever you have. Then the display 1920 into 1080 resolution or higher than that. This is the one we say. So these are the things that we are going to have it. And this is the recommended system requirement that we need. So in the further sessions, we will be working on recommended system requirements only, not on the minimum. So these are the two parameters that you should know, and you are having the knowledge now, and now we'll be working on recommended system requirements. Now you might be having the question, Okay, we have gone through the lots of the theory sections, but how about installing? As we have this kind of the requirement, then how we can install this operating system? So installation will be covered in lab section. So let's keep this particular module till over here, and for having the lab section guys, watch my second video. So thank you all for watching video till over here. Let's see you in the lab section.